Toronto. Hang out here. Dog, she's flopped right out on the couch. What a ham. Anyway. A little bit of a role reversal here. I'm used to being on the other end, just gaming, so I used to do both once upon a time. I rejoined the Twitch community very recently, kind of starting over from scratch. And unfortunately, I don't have a PlayStation camera, and I'm running a laptop, but with Linux that's pretty much on the end of its life. So I've started to get a little bit more social with my gaming again. For a while there, I was really just focused on single-player RPGs and just became immersed in that. I worked way too much. I wasn't gaming for ages. I picked up a couple retro gaming consoles. I still have all my old ones. You see, all my Sega Master System games, all my consoles. Got some Doom going on. Anyway, I started to dig through a lot of my collection during COVID, and I started adding all my titles onto price charting. I'm involved with a few different communities on Facebook as far as buy-sell trades. And as I started to get talking with more people, and I started sharing a little bit more of my videos for Doom 100% or my trophy hunting and my frustration, and yeah, I just started getting a little bit more involved with Twitch, and I realized that I could hook that up with my PlayStation, and down the line I'll be streaming a little bit more diversively. But I introduced myself a little bit. My name's Gwen, as I mentioned. I live in Toronto, as I said. I have a pretty broad background when it comes to working in film and music, and most of my stuff that I do is kind of gore and horror and centered around that kind of sci-fi social commentary within. And yeah, so I've worked on some really cool productions here and in the United States, and the newest one, actually Shakespeare's Storm of Troma, who I haven't unfortunately done a single event with this year, just premiered on Fantasia Film Festival this weekend. So if you're interested in checking out something crazy, I believe that it's still streaming through their virtual festival throughout the rest of their run. I think it's another week or two. So yeah, I used to be a radio DJ for years. I had my own show 3 hours a week for 7 or 8 years, and I used to manage the station as well. My voice is a little bit bunged up at the moment, not because of COVID, but because I was just ripping bongs. But yeah, I've been trying to catch up a little bit on games and music during my lockdown. I haven't worked in coming on 6 months, which is crazy for me because I'm a crazy workaholic, and I've chewed through a lot. So as much as I've enjoyed really getting through those new AAA titles that I hadn't had the chance to, I've gone back to a lot of favorites. So I really have been focusing on a handful of games, but I try to pick up and play around with some new ones. So I played with the SNES Classic and the NES Classic the last couple days, and my frustration because I'm terrible at Excitebike, but I'm okay with that. There's some other ones that very similar. I grew up playing Sega mostly. My thing was Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, so I definitely played a lot of R-Type. And there's some definite crap Konami style R-Type. I don't know. I have to look up which came first, but chicken or the egg, I don't know. Some of these platformers have been pretty cool to go back and play again. Some of them are just laughable. I mean, Metroid's pretty classic, but it's really frustrating, and it gets really repetitive, and I mean, the third's better. Same with Contra 3. It's kind of cool to go back and have a look at that overhead perspective and just constant barrage of bullets. But when you're playing with another person, you can plan that out and move in conjunction. You can do really well with that. Picked up Gauntleted and was playing that a lot a couple months ago. Really ground through the Borderlands games, couch co-op. It's definitely hard to live with someone else in a tiny apartment and fight over a TV and be able to schedule that out and have a bit of harmony. And the couch co-ops were definitely a bonus at the beginning of COVID there. And unfortunately, PlayStation only has so many. So in the last couple of years that PlayStation's really focused on network co-op, and multiplayer, and really hasn't put out much. And in fact, the Borderlands 3 on the console, playing split screen couch co-op is essentially impossible. Even with a 50-odd inch TV sitting inches away, the text and everything about it is just scaled really inappropriately, and they put out a ton of hot fixes. They've really worked on a lot of big buggy things in the game, which, it's 2K. It was just really frustrating because that was a really great part of that series that kept me going back and playing with my friends over and over again. And I played that multiple platform. I played PC, Xbox, PlayStation 3 and 4 with Borderlands 1 and 2 with friends, just because it was just so fun to be able to just jump in, start a new game and play, and the writing with it was good enough that I didn't mind going back. And there was a couple more characters with that you could try out and make it fun, and the DLCs with Borderlands really kept me going back. So the split screen and that kind of KO'd that. And so now I've got the person I live with playing the Mario RPG on the SNES Classic upstairs in my bedroom on a little TV that I picked up off of Kijiji, while I've got Doom queued up here in the living room with the dog sprawled out. It's pretty warm out today. I don't know, I just wanted another day in, play some games, and trying to figure out what to play next. I was playing some Dead Island yesterday, and someone that found me off of Twitch here jumped in on the game and helped me around in some spots of the maps that I had not searched around with, and unlocked some cool loot. So that was pretty cool. And that's what I'm digging a little bit about this community here, where I can, meet new players and check out different styles of gaming and think outside the box a little bit. I'm used to just sitting here playing Skyrim for I don't even know how many months. The only trophies I don't have over on PlayStation are because they're broken, and because I don't have console command, I can't fix them, which is frustrating. But the remaster, I really enjoyed, and I got to play the thorough DLC on that, which I never did before. So I had a really good time with that. And same with Doom, I'm able to go through and play a lot of mods on the PS4 version, which is pretty cool. And I think I've got all trophies for Doom. I've got all trophies for a lot of those games because I had a lot of time in my hands. And instead of getting to make monsters, I got to shoot them in the face. So, I don't know, after working so much and being creatively drained and dealing with people constantly with work, the only games that I would really toss on for a really long time were Call of Duty and little quick platformers, because you wouldn't get too immersed and you could just kind of play, zone out, and put it away in half an hour when you knew you had to go to bed. Meanwhile, some of the other games are that much more involved, and you end up in that time hole and the sun's coming up and you're thinking, oh no! So, yeah, with PS Plus I've just been really digging through, and PS Now, checking out all kinds of games that I was on the fence with before, I didn't really want to invest in, didn't know if it was really my style of game, or I just never had the time to. I still have a stack of games over against the wall there for Xbox that I haven't even touched, and I'm really trying to push myself to finish the games that I never got the chance to start, or started and abandoned. And that was really hard for a while with PS3 and PS4. I was getting new titles every month with PlayStation Plus, and there were titles dropping that I'd pick up, and by the time I'm partway through a game, a new title would come out, and blam, and I never got back to it again. So that's been turning away at that. I mean, I have a lot of books here. I have a ton of music, which is my thing. Like graphic novels, comic books, I really dug through a lot. Music I haven't been catching up on as much as I'd like to. I've been playing a lot of kind of classic rock, oddly enough, and old school music, and up from the 60s and 70s, and exploring new bands. And there's so much new metal that I've had sent my direction. There's a lot of cool thrash and a lot of cool death metal that's been sent my direction that I've just kind of been waiting on to sit through and dig around and find out more about. And I'm not the kind of person that just sits around on Spotify. I'm not, because of the radio show, I had a lot of music sent my way, and I still do. So I'm fortunate enough to be able to not have to put in too much effort to get a lot headed my direction. So I just gotta sit down and buckle up and catch up on it. And that's one thing with the PS4 that frustrates me a little, and how I have my audio set up with my consoles and everything behind me. PS3, I could just throw some of my music on CD or USB, copy it on, and I could play my music in the background and grind through my games. And PS4, you cannot do that. And with my stereo, I have it set using my audio out from my my gaming, so I'm not really going to toss music on separately and play in conjunction. So yeah, it is what it is. And there's a few games that I play who have really terrible music. So and then there's the earworms that get stuck in your head forever. Like the music that I'm hearing upstairs for that Mario RPG is so repetitive, but it's going to be in my head for months. It's insidious. And it gets in your brain. It's just, anyway. Yeah, so here we are. I've got Doom in the background here. That music, it's iconic, but I still dig it. And it's getting haunt my dreams. It does come into my dreams sometimes. I've had these levels pop into my dreams. I think I probably played them blindfolded by now. And it's like I put a couple videos up on Twitch here, and the frustrating part is that I probably could do them blindfolded, and the crap part is when you start to record and you get a little cocky and distracted, and then you do an hour video, and in the last enemy you screw up and shoot a rocket off too close to yourself and a barrel, and you don't get 100% on everything, so womp womp. Oh yeah, I don't know. I'm just been using my PlayStation 4 and my phone. This is my first time using my cell phone turned around with a stack of manga here on my living room coffee table, so yeah, keeping it pretty old school. And with this game, Doom, I think I might have mentioned in my comments, I got this shareware and CD back when I had my 486, and yes, and all the ridiculous mods that came after it with bunny slipper mode, and it was an interesting time. I remember going on to IRC and going on to Telnet and the different FTPs and just trying to find different modifiers for the game. And here I am, still playing it, and I've been playing on and off on Twitch and then just even here at home, just out of boredom, because I've just been clearing all the levels and trophies. And the High Score was talking about it, and I've seen a few different gaming documentaries that have come out that I've a few years previous that I found on Amazon and on some of the streaming services, and there's some really great interviews with the creative team there. Definitely have a, what's the word I'm thinking of? It surpasses time. It's iconic as a classic game, and still I think that with its limited abilities in comparison to games now, it definitely stands up and it holds its own. I still have a lot of fun playing it. My only hesitation on PlayStation 4 versus the other ways that I've played it is just I can't do multiplayer, which I could on Xbox. I wish that I could whiz through these levels, network, and play with my friends. And that's what we used to do. Quake more than in other games. We used to take over a lab at Sir Sanford Fleming in Peterborough, and we'd bring our own mouse. And if you forgot yours, you were just doomed to keyboard, which is fine. And we'd load it all up, and you can get 3 logins for every person that was actually a student there. So we'd go in and take over the lab and play some Quake and play some Capture the Flag and kick some arse and just play these games to death, like Half-Life. And I still have friends that'll still play those, and they'll still load them up, and they've got local area network games that they're still cranking out a couple times a year, and they'll stay up and marathon some games. A couple of my friends have done that for charity here in the city, and maybe I'll get on them this year. It's stuck in my ears. I can't believe how many hours of gaming that I put in the last 6 months. It's definitely been interesting. I picked up some definite trophy numbers on PlayStation, and I definitely need to put the thermal paste into my laptop. So once I get that up and going again, Steam has really released a lot of games that are not so buggy for Linux, which is what I run from my laptop. So I definitely like to start checking out some games that on Wine and some of the Windows environment emulators were not running well, which is where I kind of backed out with PC gaming. I just haven't had the space and the time to really invest. I got a couple friends that build the PC towers and keep on teasing me with the stats and everything coming out and what I could be playing, and showing me what they're playing on their 4K TVs running insane numbers. Yeah. I'd like to get 4K. I'd like to get a PS Pro. I'd like to get a 4K in the next year. I'm definitely not upgrading to PS5 anytime soon, especially as I haven't worked in 6 months, but we'll see. But, yeah. I was kind of rambling a little bit. I'm going to pop on the Doom here in a second, and I'm going to probably throw that in the stream here on Twitch as well. I don't know if I'm going to do a speed run or if I'm going to do some other levels and just do hundreds, but we'll see. Maybe I'll play around with some modifiers. Alright. Anyway, cheers for tuning in. And, yeah, just wanted to shoot the shit, say hi, all that other stuff. And, yeah, I'm going to be continuing streaming in future. I'll find better ways of combining my ability to talk while I'm playing and interact and figure some of that out. It's definitely something I'd like to get a little bit more involved with. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go shoot some cyber demons in the face. Yeah.